told my son to move on after his brother took his wife. Now he has cut us off, blocked the whole family, and told me he hoped Sam was worth losing my real son over. I am sitting at my dining table on my 60th birthday, staring at an empty chair. There's a cake in front of me. The candles are still unlit. There is a card for my older son Sam and his wife Iris. I wrote a simple message about gratitude and family because I did not know what else to write anymore. And there is that chair, the one I placed this morning out of habit. I stared at it for 20 minutes before I finally accepted what I already knew. He is not coming. He is never coming. But this did not begin today. It began 12 years ago with a phone call I thought I handled the right way. At the time, I believed I was being calm and mature. I believed I was protecting both my sons. I believed I was keeping the family together. Now I understand I was only protecting my comfort. It was a Tuesday night. I remember because I had just come home from book club when my phone rang. It was Owen, my younger son. He was 28 then and worked as a park ranger about 2 hours north. His voice broke the moment I answered. "Mom, Iris left me." I froze. Owen and Iris had been married for 3 years. They were high school sweethearts. Everyone loved their story. She was a freelance photographer. He was steady, outdoorsy, the kind of man who never seemed shaken by anything. They looked solid. They looked like the couple you expected to last. I asked what happened. He sounded devastated. He said he did not know. He said she told him they were not working anymore and she needed space. He said she packed her things 3 weeks earlier and moved in with her sister. He said he thought she just needed time, that maybe it was a rough patch. But that morning she called and said it was over officially. I did what I thought a mother should do. I said I was sorry. I told him breakups hurt, but he would survive. I told him some marriages end, and it is not always because someone is evil. I told him sometimes people change. He thanked me and said he would call later. When we hung up, I felt awful, but I also had a thought I'm ashamed of now. I told myself at least they do not have kids. At least it will be clean. At least he can start over. 2 weeks later, my older son Sam called. Sam is a pilot. Confident, charming, the kind of person who can walk into a room and make everyone like him. He is 4 years older than Owen. Growing up, they were close. Not inseparable, but solid. They always showed up for each other. When Sam called, he sounded nervous. He said he needed to tell me something, and he needed me to hear him out before I reacted. My stomach sank. He said Iris and I are together. I did not speak right away because my brain could not accept the words. I finally said what? He rushed on, saying he knew how it sounded, but it was not what I thought. He said after she left Owen, she was a mess. He said she reached out to him because she did not want to bother us. He said he listened. They started talking. One thing led to another. He said it was not planned. He said it just happened. I cannot breathe. He insisted Iris left Owen first because the marriage was not working. He said what happened between him and Iris was after. I wanted to scream at him. I wanted to demand how he could do this to his brother. I wanted to ask how he could look at himself in the mirror. But he sounded sincere, almost guilty. And when I called Iris later that day, she said the same thing. She said she left Owen because they grew apart. She said she and Sam connected afterward. She said it was not planned, but it was real. I wanted to believe them. I wanted to believe them so badly. Because the alternative was unbearable. The alternative was that my older son was involved with his brother's wife before the marriage ended. The alternative was that my family had been rotting from the inside, and I did not see it. So I told myself maybe it really did happen after. Maybe it was just terrible timing. Maybe grief makes people do strange things. Maybe this was just life being messy, and the best thing a mother could do was stay calm and keep the family together. Then Owen called again. He asked if Sam told me. I said yes. I hesitated. Then I said I knew it was painful, but if Iris left him first, then maybe it was complicated. Owen's voice turned flat. He said Sam cut him off. He said Iris left him, and 2 weeks later, she was with his brother. He asked me if I truly believed that was just coincidence. I tried to speak carefully. I said I was not saying it was easy, but marriages end and people move on. Then I told him the worst thing I could have told him. I told him he needed to move on too. His voice turned cold. He told me not to tell him to move on. I said I was not choosing sides. I said I was trying to keep the family together. I said Sam was his brother. I said Iris was going through something too. I said we were family, and family worked through things. There was a long silence. Then Owen said okay. Not okay in a calm way. Okay in a dead way, like something inside him closed and locked. Then he hung up. I told myself he would cool off. I told myself he was angry and hurt and it would pass. I told myself we would talk it through later, that I would mediate like a responsible parent. I pictured all of us sitting down like adults and finding a way to move forward. 3 days later, I called Owen. The number was disconnected. I called his work line. They said he requested an immediate transfer and they could not say where. That weekend, I drove to his apartment. It was empty. Lease ended. No forwarding address. Owen was gone. I panicked for 2 days straight. I called his friends. I called co-workers. I called anyone who might know where he went. Most said they did not know. The ones who didn't know refused to tell me. One of his ranger friends said Owen asked them not to. My husband, Owen and Sam's father, was the one who finally found Owen's new number through the Park Service system. Owen was a ranger station in Montana, far away, remote. I called the number right away. It rang and rang. Voicemail. I left a message telling him I loved him, and I was worried. He did not call back. I tried again 2 days later, then again a week later. Sometimes it rang. Sometimes it went to voicemail. He never answered. About a month after Owen disappeared, my husband sat me down. He asked if I truly believed Iris left Owen and immediately fell for Sam. He asked if I did not find it suspicious. I said I was not going to accuse Sam without proof. I said even if something started earlier, what was I supposed to do? Disown my older son on suspicion. My husband said no, but I could have at least told Owen I understood his pain. I could have stopped defending them. I said I did not defend anyone. I said I stayed neutral. My husband looked at me like I had spoken nonsense. He said there was no neutral in this situation. I changed the subject because I did not want to face what he was saying. 6 months after Owen left, Sam and Iris moved in together. Sam told me and sounded nervous again, like he expected me to object. I told him I was happy for them, and I forced myself to be, because what choice did I have if I wanted family at all? I helped them pick furniture. Iris sent me photos of their apartment. They looked happy. I told myself it was real. I told myself love is messy, but still love. I did not let myself think about what they broke to build it. That first Thanksgiving after Owen vanished, I set the table like always. My husband asked why I set an extra place. I said in case Owen shows up. My husband did not argue. He just looked tired. Owen did not show up. The plate sat empty all night. After everyone left, I packed it away and cried in the kitchen for 20 minutes. 2 days later, I received a text from an unknown number. It said I chose them. It said I chose peace over truth. It said do not pretend I was neutral. I stared at it for a long time. Then I deleted it. I told myself Owen was being dramatic. I told myself he would come around. Year 2, Sam and Iris married. Small ceremony at a vineyard, about 30 people. I wore a soft color dress and smiled in every photo. Sam looked proud. Iris looked beautiful. My husband stood beside me stiff and quiet. Owen was not invited. Sam said it would be awkward. Iris agreed. I did not fight them on it. When relatives asked where Owen was, I lied. I said he was working out of state. At the reception, my sister pulled me aside and asked if it felt wrong. She asked how I could be okay watching my younger son's wife marry my older son. I told her they were both my sons, and I would not punish Sam for falling in love. My sister did not argue. She just gave me a look that felt like a mirror. I ignored it. I found out Owen had transferred to a very remote station in Montana. Limited cell service. Sometimes only satellite email access. I started emailing him. Thinking of you. Please talk to me. I miss you. None bounced. So I knew he received them. He never replied. One day my husband asked if I truly did not see what I had done. I said I did nothing. I said Owen chose to cut us off. My husband said I told him to get over it. I said I told him to move forward. He said there was no difference to Owen. I did not want to hear it. So we stopped talking about Owen. He stopped bringing him up. I stopped mentioning the empty chair. We moved on the way I told Owen to do. Sam and Iris became my main family. Sunday dinners, birthdays, holidays. I kept living. I kept pretending the missing chair was normal. I told everyone Owen was doing great work in Montana, and we stayed in touch. I repeated it so often it almost sounded true. Christmas of year 2, I was putting up the tree when the mail arrived. Bills, holiday cards, and one envelope with no return address. Inside was a plain card with Owen's handwriting. Neat and deliberate. Stop pretending you did not choose. That was all. I stood holding it with shaking hands. My husband saw my face and asked what it was. I gave it to him. He read it and looked at me. He said Owen was right. I whispered that I did not choose. My husband said softly that I did. I threw the card away. I called Owen cruel in my mind because it was easier than calling myself wrong. My husband did not argue anymore. He just got quieter. Year 3, Sam called with news. Iris was pregnant. I screamed with joy. My first grandchild. I showed up with baby books and gifts. Iris glowed. Sam looked scared like new dads do. I hugged them both and told them they would be great parents. I took a photo of the 3 of us. Iris holding her belly, Sam's arm around her, me smiling like everything was whole. I almost told Owen. I almost sent an email saying you're going to be an uncle. I typed it, stared at it, then deleted it. The baby came in October, a girl. They chose a beautiful name. When I held her for the first time, I felt complete in a way I had not felt in years. I sent Owen one email. 1. I attached a photo of the baby and wrote a subject line that said your niece. No reply. I checked my inbox for weeks like a fool. Nothing. My husband asked why I kept hurting myself. I said I thought maybe a baby would change things. He said it would not. He was right. Year 4, I learned Owen got married from my sister. I was sitting with her having coffee when she casually said she heard Owen married a woman he met in Montana. The cup froze in my hand. I asked why no one told me. My sister asked if I truly did not know. I went home and cried in the shower so my husband would not hear. That night, I tried calling the Montana number again. It rang twice, then went dead. Then it disconnected permanently. He changed it. I sent an email congratulating him and saying I wished I could have been there. No reply. Year 5, I heard Owen had a child. Year 6, I heard he had another. I was a grandmother 4 times over, but I had met only 2 of them, the one Sam and Iris had. Owen's children were strangers. I did not even know their names at first. Sam's daughter started asking questions when she was 4. She asked if she had cousins. I said yes. She asked where they were. I said far away. She asked if we could visit. I smiled and said maybe someday. I was lying to a child and lying to myself. Holidays became awkward. Thanksgiving with Sam's family. Christmas often just me and my husband because Sam and Iris traveled to her parents. I took photos but did not post them. I did not frame them. They lived unseen on my phone because they felt incomplete. My husband stopped smiling in pictures around year 5. I asked what was wrong. He said nothing. He said he was fine. He was not fine, But I did not push because pushing meant talking about Owen, and talking about Owen meant facing something I did not want to face. People at church, at work, in the neighborhood asked about my boys. I said Sam was a pilot, and Owen did conservation work in Montana. They asked if I saw Owen much. I smiled and said not as much as I wanted, because you know how it is when kids move away. I said it so smoothly it became muscle memory. Year 6 I noticed Sam drinking more. Iris looked tired. They argued about small things. Who cleaned? Who scheduled what? Who put the child to bed? I asked if everything was okay. Sam said it was life. I did not ask again because I did not want to face the possibility that the marriage that cost Owen everything was not even happy. Year 7 began with a phone call at 3 a.m. My husband had a heart attack. Massive. The paramedics said he was gone before they arrived. I do not remember most of the next week clearly. Funeral planning, relatives, paperwork, fog. Sam handled a lot. Iris brought food and watched me like I might break. I did not think about Owen because grief took all my energy. The funeral was on a Saturday. Small, about 50 people. I sat in the front row between Sam and Iris, staring at the closed casket. The pastor spoke. I barely heard him. Then I felt it, a shift in the air. I turned toward the back of the room. Owen was standing there. I barely recognized him. He looked stronger, older, beard, lines at his eyes. He wore a dark suit and stood alone. Our eyes met. I started to stand, but he shook his head slightly. He did not smile. He did not nod. He just looked at me, calm and distant. The service ended. People hugged me and offered condolences. I kept looking past them, searching for Owen. He waited until the crowd thinned, then walked forward. We stood face to face. It had been years. He looked healthy, stable, like he built a full life without us. He said, "Mom," quietly. I said, "Owen," and my voice cracked. He hugged me once, brief and stiff. Then he stepped back. He said he was sorry for my loss. I thanked him for coming. He glanced towards Sam, who stood about 10 feet away. They did not acknowledge each other. Owen said he had to go. I asked if we could talk. He said, "Not today." I asked when. He looked at me with something like pity. He told me to take care of myself. Then he walked out. I watched him drive away in a truck I did not recognize. That was the last time I saw him in person. That night, I went through my husband's things. Desk, files, laptop. I found an email folder labeled with a single letter. I opened it. Years of messages. My husband and Owen had been talking. Not often, but enough. Short updates. Congratulations. Photos. My husband knew about Owen's children. He had seen pictures. He had been quietly present in their lives. He never told me. The last email was from 6 months before my husband died. Owen told him he loved him, but could not forgive me. He wrote that I asked him to move on so I could feel comfortable. He said he moved on, just not the way I wanted. He told my husband not to tell me they spoke because it would only hurt me more. My husband replied that he understood and he was proud of Owen. He wrote that Owen deserved better from both of us. I sat at that desk staring until my vision blurred. My husband had chosen in private, where it would not cost him his marriage. He stayed with me and loved Owen quietly. He gave Owen what I refused to give him, a simple truth. You're not crazy. You have a right to be hurt. You deserve better. I do not know if that made it better or worse. The next 2 years after my husband died were a slow collapse inside my chest. I still went to work. I still went to dinners with Sam's family. I still smiled in public. But inside, guilt grew. I became obsessed with fixing it, with making the family whole, with doing what I thought I should have done years ago. Year 8. I hired someone to find Owen's current contact information. Address, phone number, email. Even his wife's name. His daughter's names. I stared at those names for hours. My granddaughters. Children I never met. I called his number. Voicemail. I called again. Voicemail. I did not leave a message until the 10th try. I finally left one. I told him it was Mom. I told him I missed him. I begged him to talk. No response. Year 9, Sam got drunk at Thanksgiving. It was just the 3 of us because their daughter was at a friend's house. Sam drank too much and suddenly asked if I thought Owen hated him. We never talked about Owen. It was an unspoken rule. I said Owen was stubborn. Sam stared at his glass and said sometimes he wondered if he and Iris started before she left Owen. I froze. Iris went pale. Sam said he could not remember exactly when it crossed the line, but he remembered talking to her while she was still married. Deep talks, emotional closeness, guilt. Iris insisted it was after. Sam asked if it really was. The room went silent. I should have pushed then. I should have demanded the truth. Instead, I told myself it did not matter now. Sam laughed bitterly. Iris drove him home early. I sat alone, looking at the half-empty bottle, and felt something cold settle in my chest. Year 10, I noticed more things. Casual comments that suggested their bond started earlier. Sam started therapy. He said it was stress. Their marriage looked tired. Not dramatic, just worn down, like 2 people who built a life on a crack and spent years pretending it was solid. Year 11, my 60th birthday approached, and I became obsessed with it. I told myself this would be the moment. I would get both my sons in the same room. We would talk. We would heal. We would take a family photo that felt real. I planned for months. Menu, guest list, everything. Sam asked if I was inviting Owen. I said yes, of course. Sam looked uneasy and asked if I thought Owen would come. I said I would ask him. I found Owen's work number through a public directory. My hand shook while I dialed. It rang. Then Owen answered. His voice was deeper than I remembered. Calm. Steady. I said hello and then whispered his name. I told him it was Mom. He went quiet for a moment, then said he knew. I told him about my birthday, and said I wanted both my sons there. He asked if Sam was coming. I said yes, but insisted it was not about Sam. I said it was about family. Owen asked closure for who? I said for all of us. I told him it had been 12 years and asked if he wanted to move past it. Owen said he moved past it a decade ago. He said I was the one still stuck. I tried to insist I was not stuck. I told him I loved both my sons equally. Owen laughed, quiet and bitter. He said I did not love equally. He said I loved peace more than his pain. He said I loved the idea of family more than the truth. I asked what he wanted me to do. Disown Sam. Owen said he never asked me to disown Sam. He asked me to admit what Sam did was wrong. He asked me to admit it was betrayal, not bad timing, and that I asked Owen to swallow it so I could stay comfortable. I had no answer. Owen said if Sam was there, he would not be. I told him he could not be serious. Owen said he was completely serious. Then he said the sentence that still echoes in my head. He said if that was my choice, he hoped Sam was worth losing my real son over. Then the call ended. I called back. Voicemail. I texted. Message failed. I emailed. It bounced. He blocked me everywhere. I sat on my kitchen floor and finally understood. Owen was not coming back. He never was. I still held the birthday party. What else could I do? Cancel and admit the truth to everyone. Admit I spent 12 years pretending everything was fine when it was never fine. So I put on makeup and smiled. Sam came with Iris and their daughter. My granddaughter hugged me, and I held her tight, trying to feel something other than emptiness. People asked where Owen was. I lied again. I said work. I said Montana. I said he was doing well. Smile. Redirect. Repeat. My sister pulled me aside and asked if Owen was not coming. I nodded and could not speak. She hugged me and said nothing. There was nothing to say. We took the family photo. Me in the middle. Sam on one side. Iris on the other. Their daughter in front. The camera clicked. On the screen, it looked like a complete happy family. The empty space was invisible to everyone except me. 2 hours into the party, Sam found me outside and said he needed to tell me something. He looked terrible. He had been drinking. He said he and Iris were separating. I felt the world tilt. He said they tried for years, but Iris could not stop feeling guilty. He said she felt they built their life on something broken, and she could not live with it. I asked what he meant. Sam looked at me and said it started before she left Owen. He said we both knew that. He said he thought we always knew that. The truth arrived like a stone. I asked how long. Sam said he did not know. Maybe 6 months, maybe 8. He claimed nothing physical happened until after she moved out, but he admitted emotionally they were already gone. I sat down hard on the porch step. Everything I protected, everything I defended, everything I called neutrality was built on exactly what Owen said. Later that night, Iris found me in the bathroom while I fixed my lipstick with shaking hands. She told me she tried to reach Owen the year before. She said she wrote an apology. I asked what Owen said. She said Owen replied once. He said he forgave her years ago, but he would never forget what his mother did. Iris said he sounded indifferent, and that hurt more than anger. She apologized to me and left. I stared at myself in a mirror and finally saw what Owen saw years ago. A mother more focused on keeping peace than naming betrayal. That night, after everyone left, I searched for Owen's wife online and found her page. I scrolled through years of photos. Owen by a campfire with his daughters. Owen teaching them to fish. Owen laughing a life I was not part of. One caption said, "Grateful for the family we built from scratch." Built from scratch. No baggage. I was the baggage. I wrote Owen one last message in my head and tried to email him. It bounced again. He had blocked me at a level I did not even know existed. The next morning, a small package arrived. No return address. Postmarked Montana. Inside was a photograph from years ago. Owen and Iris at their wedding. Me smiling beside Iris, arm around her, beaming. But Owen was cut out of the photo. And on a small note, in Owen's handwriting, it said I was there for her, never for me. I stood in my kitchen holding it and finally broke. Not in a dramatic way, but in a real way. Something inside me gave up pretending. After that, I stopped lying. When people asked about Owen, I stopped saying he was busy. I said we were not in touch. If they pushed, I said I made choices that hurt him and he moved on without me. Most people did not push. Sam and Iris finalized their divorce a few months after my birthday. Sam moved to another city. Iris moved out of state later. The family I tried to protect scattered anyway. All those years of neutrality. All that sacrifice. And for what? I tried calling Owen's office once. I asked for him. The receptionist asked who was calling. I said his mother. There was a long pause. Then she said he was unavailable and asked if I wanted to leave a message. I said no. I hung up knowing he told them not to put me through. I started therapy, not to win Owen back. That was not possible. I did it to understand why I chose comfort over truth. My therapist asked why I stayed neutral. I said I thought I was being fair. She asked if I was. And I finally said no. I said I was afraid. Losing Sam would have hurt more in the moment. Owen was stronger, so I expected him to carry the pain. I asked him to be bigger because I was too small. And now I understand something I did not want to understand back then. Neutrality is not kindness when someone you love is betrayed. It is choosing the betrayer while pretending you did not choose. I learned through distant connections that Owen is doing well. Promoted. Stable. His daughters are older now. His wife is thriving. Their life is full. And we're not part of it. In his story, his family started with his wife. We do not exist. I changed my will. I left something for Sam. I set up something small for Owen's daughters, so at least they might one day know someone cared. I donated something in Owen's name to conservation because I had to do one thing that matched who he became. I wrote a final letter that I did not send. I wrote that he was right. I wrote that I chose comfort and called it love. I wrote that he deserved a mother who stood beside him even if it made life uncomfortable. I wrote that I learned too late. Then I burned the letter, not because it fixed anything, because I needed to accept that I did not deserve his forgiveness. Now I sit at my dining table again, older than I ever thought I would feel, looking at that empty chair. The silence is not just quiet. It is permanent. I did not lose Owen in one moment. I lost him the second I asked him to forget the unforgivable so I could keep pretending everything was fine. He walked away with dignity. No shouting, no begging, no drama, just distance. And now he is gone. I cannot undo it. I cannot make it right. All I can do is tell the truth now, even if it is too late. I chose wrong. Owen left, and the silence is what I earned.